Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a Gravelly Voice Wednesday on Wednesday with the Band. I'm Scott Hall, your host from Hall Around Town Radio, and we're going to bring some folks in today. We're going to have a little fun with you. We do this every Wednesday where we feature a local musical act or a solo artist and chat with them a little bit about their background, history, and what they're up to now that the COVID is starting to go away and we're all starting to get back out and play. So help me welcome today, guys, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dirk Turner and Mr. Dave McCarty. They're coming in from Cryin Out Loud. How you doing, fellas?
Doing well.
Doing good, Scott. Thanks.
You doing all right out there? Everybody good?
Yep.
All right. So what's shaking your way? I see you're in the is this the Dirk studio today?
Dirk's home office.
There we go. So, what are we buying and selling? Anything?
Whatever we can these days.
Whatever we can get by with these days,
yep.
Right?
Yep.
Well, you know, guys, I can't tell you enough how great it is to see you play, and you're back out there now after this kind of hiatus with the bands that we've been all dealing with, because bands like yours who have a lot of players just haven't had the opportunity that some of the solo folks have had in the last year. And you guys are you've been together a long time. So whoever wants to take this, tell me about a little bit about the history of Cryin Out Loud. Dirk's pointing at Dave. So go ahead, Dave, and take it away, my friend.
We only have a half hour.
Well, yeah, let's do the Campbell Soup version of this, okay?
Yeah, it was back around 91. James McCoskey and I started the project, and we brought his cousin Jay Grant in. And we were looking for other musicians, and we ended up with Dirk and Jay. And we ran for a couple years back in the early 90s.
Yep.
And then called it quits for multiple reasons. And then 3-4 years ago?
Yep.
Somewhere around there. We came up with the idea of doing a 25-year reunion. And there was a lot of work put into that just to get one show. And we all had more time on our hands because all our kids grew up, and we're all a little more established than we were back in the early 90s. So we figured we might as well start it back up and do a handful of shows a year, and that's kind of where it evolved from there.
Well, lots and lots of history in this band, lots of great players in this band too. There's just two of you on with me today, but you guys have a host of folks, and I don't think I've seen a live band in the last few years that has 3 lead singers. That's unique, man. That is definitely different, and all of them in their own right, quality lead singers. I mean, and I know that they don't really play instruments, a little bit here and there, but for the most part, they're just singing, right?
Yeah, Jay plays a little acoustic guitar, and we throw a tambourine or a shaker in there every now and then, but for the most part, they're singing.
Great. And guys, if you're out there watching today, welcome to the broadcast. Again, I'm on with Cryin Out Loud, local favorite here, and we're going to chat with these guys for a little bit about their history and musical influences and such. But also, if you're out there, folks, if you have a question for the boys from Cryin Out Loud, Dirk or Dave, make sure you drop in the comments, and we'll pop it up there for sure. Absolutely. So saying hey to some folks. Hey, Rick Ambergy, thanks for dropping by. I appreciate you being here today. Rick Ambergy running a blog called Country Music Views. He does a great job with that. And Jason Baker, a good production guy in town too, on with us. So thanks, guys, for being here. We'll get to the rest of you in a little bit. So Dirk, I'm going to hit you up here. We go way back, man. We go back to the days of a little place called Roller World Bus Stop. I shouldn't say little; it was huge.
Yep.
Huge. And you played some music there.
Yeah, Dave did as well. A lot of the guys in our band played there, starting out, and it was a lot of fun. We, from time to time, reminisce about the bands we were in back then and some of the acts that you had brought in. It was the place to be back in our day.
Yeah, what was the name of the band back then?
So my band back then, I think, was called Target. And then Dave,
I had a band called Diver and Snidely Whiplash.
I remember the name Snidely Whiplash. That's one that you can't forget.
That was
and
James. James was in that band as well. Yeah.
The Voyager 3 boys played there. I mean,
Yep.
that was Joey and Chip and those guys.
Yeah.
Pretty
Then,
crazy stuff. We had a big battle of the bands back then. Remember that? It was like,
Yep.
it was a huge event. I mean, we were packed out for that. And
Yep.
I'm answering Jay Clark's question. He asked when the next time he played, so I threw the scroller up there so he could see that. Going to be at Mr. Burroughs Tavern on the 20th. We'll talk about that in a little bit as we get to their upcoming shows. But so you guys have a long history of music. Dirk, you always played bass?
I have.
Right.
I started out playing guitar when I was very young, and my fingers weren't quick enough, and I didn't have the patience, so I ended up playing bass. So,
and you know, and if I must say, guys, I've got to throw Dirk under the bus a little bit here. In those bus stop days, I think he was playing bass in spandex pants. I don't want to really let everybody know that, but I think that's what was happening back then. There was a whole lot of that going on.
Yeah,
with the Aquanet and the hair we don't have anymore, and everything else.
Yeah.
But let's get to Cryin' Out Loud. This is a unique band, like I said. Great vocalist. I mean, gosh, you know, the two ladies up front are Stephanie and Sarah. Just bring some neat harmonies to the band. I think it's a great mixture of vocals. And so, how did you decide to put this whole project together like this? You came back from the dead, as you said. You've been gone for a while, had a little reunion concert, and then decided to run with it. So, how did you put it all together and get all these neat players in one place?
Well, those guys made me put it all back together. So it started It started with a meeting of, you know, gauging everybody's interest, and, you know, got all the original members back, pulled out the old set list, and started working through that material, and booked a show at the Dublin pub, packed the place out. Everybody was interested to see us 25 years later, which was fun, and just kind of evolved from there.
So we're getting a question, where are you from? And the Jeff Morris has never heard of you. Jeff, you've been under a rock, man? What's going on, dude? Yeah, Cryin' Out Loud where do you say you're from? Are you a Dayton-based band, or you?
Yeah, most of us live in Greene County, but we're a Dayton-based band.
I got you.
Yep.
And you're getting a big shout out here from your daughter. Saying,
Hi,
"Hey,
Lauren."
Dad."
Yep.
All right, perfect. So, what's that?
Is she upstairs?
I'm not sure where she is. So
yeah. Well, I get comments from my wife as she sits on the couch just adjacent to where I'm doing the show here usually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys are a lot of fun. Let's talk a little about the music of Cryin' Out Loud, because you're a cover band. Obviously, you do you do some really amazing mixtures of music, and where does that come from? And mention some of the songs you guys do so the people get a chance to know kind of what they're in for when they come to see you play.
Go ahead.
No, good. I don't memorize the set list.
No, you go. No, I'll go.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of collaboratively pick out music, you know, try to showcase the vocal abilities of the band. That's first and foremost. You know, pick songs that the girls are comfortable singing, Jay's comfortable singing. Kind of what I think makes us unique is we take versions of songs and make them different. So we find versions that have been done by other bands of original songs. One of the songs that comes to mind is a song called "Always Something There to Remind Me." We do the version by Butch Walker. He wasn't the original writer or performer of that song, but we like that version of the song. Glad to see my kids are at school and doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what we try to do, and we kind of try to stay in that 70s, 80s, and 90s genre. So
well, good. And we'll talk about some of the songs. I want you to list some of the songs that you play, though, for sure. But how did you come up with the name for the band? A question coming into us today.
You'll have to answer
I
that.
don't remember that either. That sounds like something James would have come up with.
Yeah, I think our drummer
that's my
James
favorite.
came up with.
that's my favorite question to ask of bands, because some of them are like, would they give you this great big story, and other ones are like, hell, we don't even remember. I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
This band I don't remember. No.
Yeah. It was probably our drummer James, the marketing genius in the band. So.
And Jason Baker giving Stephanie a big shout out there. She does rock. Sarah rocks. I mean, it's a cool band to see because of all, like I said, I enjoy the different music you play. And like you said, changing some of it up, doing the covers of covers that people have done. And that's a unique way of doing things, and changing it up, making it your own, yet not losing the feel for that song so people can sing along and do what they want. And that's a cool part. I got to see you out at the Kettering VFW. It was outside. It was on a covered like patio deck. It was a really cool show. And I looked around, and I spend a lot of time when I go out people watching and watching the reactions of the folks. And, they loved your music. And that was when COVID was going on and we weren't supposed to be up and about and all that. And they were still grooving in their chairs and doing all that. So it's really a cool mix. So throw some of the songs out that you guys do for me, and let the people know, just name a few of them so they get an idea, and bounce around a little bit if you can. There's that look again.
You're going to put me on the spot again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do anything from like Dance the Night Away from Van Halen to Poison to America. Dirk was talking about covers of covers. If we can't find one, we'll kind of rewrite it in our own way. And we do Sister Golden Hair, which isn't probably our favorite song to listen to, but once we kind of rewrote it and kind of made it our own, we'll say it's a fun song to play. And like you said, it gets pretty good reaction. People recognize it, and that's the biggest thing. We want to do stuff that people recognize, and every once in a while we'll throw an oddball song in here or there, and somebody will walk up and think we wrote it. And depending on what kind of mood Dirk is, Dirk will either say he did write it or didn't. But no, it's like he was saying earlier. We really try to concentrate on the strengths of the band, and we really focus on the vocal aspect of it. So, and having two girls in the band, we can do Pat Benatar, we can do
Joan Jett,
we can do
the Bangles.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different genres that we're able to cover with the different singers in the band.
Yeah, and the girls, like I said, they really complement each other. And then you throw in, and I want to make sure I'm getting the names right here. I get the names mixed up, but Jay is the other male vocalist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And Jay, when he's singing and the girls are doing harmony with him, and then the rest of the band is jamming. And your guitar skills, by the way, are amazing. Those are some face melting licks that go on out there, and things that surprise you when those come in. And like you said, on some of these songs that you really like. That never really had that lead, but it worked. That was really strong, and it just makes the crowd dance and have fun. So the mixture, as you put all these people in a blender, how's the practice work? How do you guys go about adding a new song and, being able to make it work with all of it? Because, bands have personalities. People are like, oh, I don't want to sing that. I don't like that. But somebody in the band's headstrong, I want to do that song. So how do you make all that work, guys? That's a lot of people to shake up.
Yeah, it's tedious at times. I think a lot of bands come into building their set list thinking it's a democracy. Everybody's got to have input, and everybody has to have, say, and that works to a certain extent. But you also kind of got to stick to what works well for the band. And I think once a group understands that and plays to their strengths, that's what makes them either successful or, actually help builds the following, because people know what they're coming to see.
Right. And thank you, Heather, for that comment. Appreciate that. Heather, a great singer herself. Heather Mattingly on here with us. So yeah, I think it's unique. And I think the whole thing about your band that makes people like it and follow it is the uniqueness of that. And as you said, the fact that you can be all over the place in a set list. You can go from I hate myself to loving you to, something that's Sister Golden Hair. It's just it's a really wide, eclectic kind of list of songs, which is appealing when you go to a place and play. Like I saw you there at the Kettering VFW, and that because the age range there that day was 8 to 80.
Right.
I mean, it really was. It was crazy. And
right.
You have to appeal to everybody. And, the kids will run around, they'll do whatever if they're at a show. But, the adults, when you're talking 21-year-olds and you're playing music that was put out 20 years before they were ever born, That's some interesting stuff to make the crowd like, right?
Right. And we've learned some new material for this show at Mr. Burroughs. I mean, we're stripping things down. We like to say it's acoustic, but it's got some electric appeal to it.
Yeah.
With the drum kit and my bass, but Dave's playing acoustic guitar, and we found 5 or 6 new songs to play for this show that are really exciting to us, and then looking forward to playing them the next show. We're going to keep them, but play them in their original format, with electric guitar and such. So it's
And
surprisingly, it's pretty easy for us to find songs. We all share similar interests, and it's kind of give and take. So
Dirk, you're not playing the upright bass then?
no,
All right. I was
not
kind
my
of hoping.
wheelhouse.
I was hoping to see that. Yeah,
We're working on that.
There's
Crying
much
Out
better
Loud.
bass players out there that can do that. I stick to what I know.
Crying Out Loud bluegrass version, right?
Yeah.
There we go. So let's talk about each individual member of the band and their strengths and what they bring to the table, if we can. And so we'll finish with you guys, but let's start with Jay for a minute. Vocalist, like you said, acoustic guitar. What's he bring to the table?
We're still trying to figure that out. No, I'm kidding you.
The only reason you say that, he's not on Facebook. He won't be watching.
Right,
us.
he won't be able to watch it because he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's not on the Facebook. So
Jay's got a lot of passion. He's a songwriter too. Him and I actually have written a lot of stuff over the years. Dirk and him have written together. The biggest thing for me with a lot of these guys is, and I can kind of lump a couple of them together, is I've stayed active, since '91. Dirk hasn't. Jay hasn't. The girls are pretty new to this, so to me, just to see the excitement, and a lot of people that have been doing this for a lot of years know the burnout, and to get involved with a group of guys that are excited to do this, not just excited to play the shows, excited to learn the songs, excited to, to rehearse, excited, on all aspects of it. For me, that brings it kind of brings me back into it. Instead of sitting there going, man, I got to do this again. You got another show, you got another rehearsal, learn another song. They make it fun. And Jay's kind of the kingpin of that. He always shows up. He's always happy to be there. A lot of talent, in a lot of different aspects. And like I said, he just brings a positive attitude to everything.
he's a big REO Speedwagon fan. So, vocals are important to him. Harmonies are important to him. So
yeah. And it shows. I mean, it shows in the band that you guys work hard on those, because those aren't easy to pull off live sometimes. And, in that setting, and the sound be right and everything else. So let's move on to Stephanie. Stephanie is another one who is kind of what I call a sleeper. She's back there. You see her singing, and then all of a sudden she comes out and hits a lead, and she's doing lead in a song and just blows you away, man. Her harmonies and things blend so well, you don't know she's there sometimes, but the lead stuff's fantastic, I think.
Agreed. Yeah. It's funny because her husband and I, we've known each other all the way back to grade school. And we kind of reconnected through music. And I didn't even know Stephanie sang when I first met him. And we were looking for somebody, and she actually called me out of the blue and said, hey, are you auditioning singers? And obviously we were. And she came over and did just an excellent job. I mean, she's got a great voice. Once again, it's still kind of new to her. So her passion is there. I mean, every little aspect of it.
Oh, you can tell she loves to get on stage. I mean, when she steps up front on that mic, it's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
She's
really,
a lot of fun.
Really cool.
And like Dave said, she and Sarah both breathe a breath of fresh air back into, playing in a band.
Well, and let's move to Sarah then for a minute. I met Sarah singing karaoke. She used to sing karaoke at a place that's near and dear to my heart called the Soft Rock in Centerville, and her mom was there all the time. One of the nicest ladies you'll ever meet, Kathleen, and just a really fun time to see her. And I've watched her grow up. I mean, she was a youngster back then coming in singing karaoke. So I'm telling my age a little bit, but Sarah has that force, man. She steps up to the mic and you see her glare out at the crowd. I mean, she gets like an eye connection with the audience and stuff. and really starts belting those tunes out. So tell me a little bit about her too, and what she brings.
Well, it's funny because she was she runs a vocal uh, show choir studio in Beaver Creek, and actually I met her through Stephanie, and I walked up to her one night and now actually I'll tell you what's funny. She actually walked up to me and told me she'd be interested in doing it. And I pretty much told her right off the bat, I said, well, you got the job, without even really, I don't like calling them auditions these days because nobody really auditions. It's if you're a good fit for the project, but just knowing, like you said, the confidence level and everything, I knew she was going to be a perfect fit for it. Plus, she runs a vocal studio, so we also we knew she could sing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Funniest thing was that she told me right off the bat, she goes, I'm not interested in singing any lead. She goes, I just want to sing back up and do harmonies and stuff like that. I said, that's fine. We get about 2 or 3 rehearsals in, and all of a sudden she's like, well, what song can I sing? So
Yeah.
I think she caught the bug. Once again, she's got that, she's new at it, newer at it, and just the passion and the drive, and it just rubs off on people.
Well, there's a huge difference too in standing up and singing your one song an hour at a karaoke bar as you roll through the list than there is being on that stage and having to worry about your mannerisms the whole time, and that the audience is all focused on you, the entire time you're up there. That's a big difference for her. And I think she's done well. I think she's a show person, and both she and Stephanie and Jay up front really represent you guys well. And it's not just that, and I hate to use it, but I see a lot of bands, and sometimes you just go and they just stand up there and it's just kind of a lame stage show. There's nothing eye appealing to it. The sound is good, the music's good, but they just kind of, sit on their stool or do whatever. This is a change for me because there's movement, there's dancing, there's, a tambourine, whatever it might be. It's just something that brings to the table and cool stuff. So let's cover the rest of the band. Let's talk about the rest of the guys before we get to you two real quick, and then we'll wrap this thing up for the day. By the way, if you're watching, people, make sure you leave us a question in the comments. Let us know if you have a question for Dirk or Dave. And also, don't forget that these guys are playing March 20th at Mr. Burroughs Tavern. We'll mention that again at the end of the show as well. Go ahead, guys, and tell me the rest of the band here.
So the other member, the other original member, I guess, would be James Pekowski. James was our drummer until about a year and a half ago, and he moved back to Indiana. And so, it's been hard for him to commit to shows as much as we want to play, but yet he's still an original member. And, he's probably the jokester of the band. Great personality, fun to be around. Dave and I hang out with him outside the band, ball games and such. And he's a lot of fun. And then Niles and I go way back with Jay, our singer. We played in bands years ago with Niles. And, when we were looking for somebody to kind of step in and help us with practices and rehearsals and playing shows that James couldn't play, Niles was more than happy to do it. And he's an awesome drummer, very talented. He's just been a good fit.
He likes bacon.
He likes bacon, that's for sure. But yeah, so everything's kind of fallen into place. We all get along, and we've had to do a lot of adapting through COVID. Last year, we probably had more shows canceled than we played. This year, I purposely booked a lot of outdoor shows. Just, as this COVID thing goes, whichever way it's going to go, I try to book outdoors as much as possible so we don't get canceled. And then obviously book shows indoors as the weather gets, weather gets colder. Yeah.
You got to love Chris.
Yep.
Yeah, you knew that was coming.
Yep.
And Niles says, I love bacon.
He does.
So there we go.
Follow Niles on Facebook, and everything's bacon.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Chris and I are best friends. We grew up together in West Carrollton. So
Niles, when you're at Mr. Burroughs, Niles, get that grilled cheese, the borough favorite, with bacon on it. It's awesome.
I'm sure
That's
you
my
will.
recommendation.
There you go.
The day you're at Burroughs. Hi, Deborah Smith. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate you stopping in as well.
Hey, Deb.
All right. So how about you two guys? Let's go to Dave first. Dave, you've got a lot of history in the music scene around here.
There will be no time left when Dave gets done. So
quickly, and I'll say quickly, tell me about that and your contribution to the band. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I've been doing this. Well, like we said, started off at the bus stop back in 85, 86. I think.
God, I wish I had some disco music to play right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But and like Dirk said, we found out years later that we actually probably met each other at that time. No, I look at myself as one of the fortunate guys in this town. I've had a lot of the privilege of playing with a lot of good people, and you're only as good as the people you play with. And it's been, without taking up the last 5 minutes, it's been a pleasure, for the most part, with the people I've got to play with over the years. This band is kind of near and dear. I was on the road back in the late 80s, actually traveling up the East Coast, down south and everything, and came back home. And I was pretty fed up with music, even in my early 20s. Just kind of tired of the, living out of a suitcase thing. Didn't think I really wanted to do it anymore. And this is the band we formed, when I got back. So it's real easy to go back to it years later, just not because of just that, but just the people too. I mean, we're all real close, really good friends. And at this day and age, if you're still doing this at my age, that's what matters more than anything to me. You got to play with people that you like and respect and that you can count on.
All right. Dirk, you're up.
I don't know what to say. I guess most of these guys look to me for booking shows and playing bass. I try to stay out of everybody's way. I'm blessed to play with these guys because they're all much more talented than I am. But it's a pleasure. Like Dave said, we're all friends. It's a good group. I'm probably enjoying this more today than I have in a long time, just because of the quality of people that I play with, and getting to meet a lot of new people as well. I've made a lot of new connections through COVID, and couldn't be in a better place playing local music. So
awesome to hear. Awesome to hear. Well, I've got a couple more questions for you guys, then we're going to let you go today. But let's talk about musical influences that you two have, since I have you pinned down here. Dirk, what if you had to tell me your greatest musical influence in your life, who would it be?
Starting out, I would have told you growing up, I was a huge Kiss fan. I had the posters, all the albums, went and saw those guys live a lot. And, today I'm much more about the song, songwriting, good songs. So I'm into some more, I guess, more obscure people. I like Butch Walker. He's a big producer of a lot of people. He produced the last Green Day album. He's produced Fall Out Boy, Pink, and then he's got his own career. So I'm really a fan of him. I like the classics, Van Halen. Good musicianship, Mr. Big, some of those bands. That'd probably be most of them right there.
Yeah, we're both cut from the same mold. I think from when it comes to we love those 80s bands, those 80s for lack of a better term, hair bands as they're called. That's fun, and that's great music. That was entertainment music. That was stage show music and all that. And I tend to love that. Dave, your musical influences in life.
Dirk. No.
Wow, set the bar low.
Wow, hold on. Do we have a sound effect for that? I don't know if we do. Oh my.
Hopefully it's PG-13.
Dirk. Yeah, no, there we go. All right.
Now I'm a throwback 80s hair band guy. That's when I started playing guitar. then you had to play a certain way back then in order to even be in a band. And sometimes today you listen back on it, some of that music didn't hold the test of time, but from a musician's standpoint, it's still what I always go back to.
Gotcha. Well, it's starting to sound like it's time for the dog to go out. I'm hearing a bark, which means the dog needs to go outside. I don't know who's that was. Dirk, that your dog?
Probably, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, guys, coming up, a couple shows here. You've got Cryin Out Loud at Mr. Burroughs Tavern on March 20th. It's a stripped-down version of the electronic version, guys, that you'll see if you go see him at a big show. And I don't want to call Mr. Burroughs a small show because it won't be. It'll be crowded. It'll be busy. So those of you that were asking if they take reservations, no, they do not. So get there early. Get yourself a table if you want to watch Cryin Out Loud. And what else you got coming up? Anything else?
We're booked through the end of the year. We kind of agreed we wanted to play once a month. So, we're booked almost the whole year, waiting for maybe one or two more things to come in. But we play May 22nd at Heather's. And then we've got a couple shows at Heather's, a couple shows at the Kettering VFW. We're back at Mr. Burroughs in November. No more outdoor shows in November, Scott. We froze to death last year.
I agree.
So no more outdoor shows after the 1st of October. So, but we're pretty busy. We'll still take another show or two if anybody's interested. They can contact us through our Facebook page, and one of us will get back to them. So
perfect. Yeah, you can follow these guys on Facebook. And fellas, I can't tell you how much I enjoy seeing your band. I'm going to get out to see you again. Hopefully, don't know. I might pop in on the 20th if I can get in there. Sometimes the Fridays and Saturdays at Burroughs get to be a little busy, and that's a good thing for them. We're glad to hear that. So we'll see if we can get in there.
We've never played there, so we're excited to, our first acoustic show and our first time playing Mr. Burroughs. So
yeah, the only time I played there I did that outdoor thing back in October.
Right. And a lot of people that follow you guys are in that area, that general area. They've been to Heather's, you're going to see them at Heather's. In fact, Heather just popped on. How you doing, Heather? Good to see you. Thank you for dropping by today. A great musical venue in the summertime. If you want to check out Heather's. We love playing
there. So got to do it once in the ice box, and we're looking to play in it a couple times this summer. So
Heather says, so that's a no for Christmas in Springboro, that if you don't like the outdoor cold shows. Yeah, that's a little chilly, but it's a fun show at her place. Christmas in Springboro is massive there. It's really good. And what else we got going on here? Oh, Mickey says, Sweet Sister Mercy appreciates the shout out. Yeah, I talked about them yesterday. Thank you guys. This great Cincinnati band, if you guys get a chance to check them. So thank you guys for being here, and I appreciate your time. And let's run down everybody again. First of all, Dirk Turner. We go way back, Dirk Turner, as I call him. And then Dave McCarty have joined me today from Cryin Out Loud. The band, Jay Hawkins, Stephanie Sutherland, Sarah Eldred, not Roush anymore, Eldred, happy wedding. Sarah, and I still can't get into calling her Sarah Eldred, and James Pakowski. Did I get it right?
Yeah,
I did. Okay. And Niles Johns, all members of Cryin Out Loud. Thank you guys for joining us on Wednesday with the band. If you're watching, people, share it to your page so we can promote these guys, get their name out there. And just like Jeff Morris, who said he'd never heard of you, well, now he's heard of you. So let's see if we can share some of this, share it with the band. Fellas, stay on with me as we go off the air here. I'll chat with you off camera. But thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Hey, Scott, we appreciate all you do for local music. So
absolutely.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, brother. Great to hang with you. Who'd ever thought, Dirk, we'd be doing this back in the old bus stop days? And now how many years later? All right. So thanks so much, guys. We will catch you again. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow to Haul Around Town Radio. We'll be with you with Who's Playing Out, brought to you by Froggies in Monroe, and our week in review of music featuring the best local musicians in the tri-state. We'll see you real soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time. Bye-bye.